there's going to be a weariness. You watch. The world's going to be, okay, let's negotiate. Israel's got to negotiate. They're not going to negotiate. These people have played their cards. They want to kill as many Israelis as they can, and negotiating with killers is not an option for the elected government of Israel. And so we're just going to have to remain steadfast, but it's not going to take long. It's gone on too long. Surely there's a way to settle this through negotiations. Both sides are guilty. My view is one side is guilty, and it's not Israel.
That, of course, the 43rd president of the United States about the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. The comments came earlier this week. George W. Bush in them took a shot at isolationists in both the Democratic and Republican parties. The former president there had a lot to say. Bob, is he right? What'd you make of it?
He'd be a pretty good pundit. I mean, that was a pretty good talking points. I mean, listen, this is what George W. Bush thinks, and it's not surprising, but it's also he provides some clarity. He obviously went through 9/11, and it was a massive test of his presidency, and he got a second term, really, because of 9/11, but then in the second term, things unraveled.
You say this is what he thinks. He said, I'm a hardliner at one point in that conversation there. Is he right, though, with what he says? He was basically saying, as time goes on, there might be some sort of pullback, but we need to stay steadfast and go forward.
I think we need to be careful about how we stay steadfast. We need to have our eyes on Hamas, and that is the mistake that the Bush administration made. I mean, I remember I was at the University of Kansas when we started the Iraq War, and I remember people celebrating bombs over Baghdad, and for the next 20 years, we would prop up a corrupt regime in Afghanistan, and I don't think our generation was better for it.
Look, I actually agree with you. I'm concerned about the military-industrial complex and what this means going forward. But at least in the Republican Party, there is not the appetite to send America all over the world as we did under George W. Bush. But I do think that there is a support for Israel. And if Israel wants to take the handcuffs off, the Republican Party and Republican voters are going to support that. I think the concern here is, does it turn into a larger Middle Eastern war? And given the global jihad that's been called, don't be surprised if all of a sudden Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, the malign actors start to needle the Israeli bear.
I started off the show by saying when Jamie Dimon talks, you listen, right?
Yeah.
George W. Bush, we don't hear from him very often, and so when he talks, you listen.
And he is obviously absolutely right, is that Israel has a very brief window, relatively speaking, in which they can act basically unbound. They can do what they want. But the former president is also right that the international community, which hates Israel, which is always against Israel, the United Nations and other folks and people left and right in the United States of America, the Vivek Ramaswamis of the world are out there, and they will be coming after Israel. So if Netanyahu thinks that he has a long time horizon on this, that this could go on for months, he is mistaken. They have days or weeks, not months.
Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, met today with the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, and there was a statement that was put out, and in the statement it said this at one point, quote, "The Secretary also detailed U.S. efforts to coordinate with partners to prevent the conflict from widening." Friend of the show, Morgan Ortega, tweeted something, caught my attention. Here's what she said. She said, quote, "Prevent the conflict from widening. That's what we've heard them say for 20 months vis-a-vis their Russia policy. Don't provoke Putin. Perhaps this strategy isn't working, and terrorists, dictators, and despots sense weakness." Bob.
Well, listen, as far as widening, and it certainly could become very, very bad, look at the reporting on Iran's involvement. Obviously, Iran, a patron, as Ford said, of Hamas. But what is Israel going to do as it relates to Iran? Because if that...
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.